Okay, let's look at Google Docs and the problems we can have with it. I said to you I want to make sure that any picture you include in any show, you reference, you talk about it some way, otherwise it's just filling space. So how do we add images? First of all, I always do a 2x1 table like this, and I do my writing on the left. So let's say I'm talking about one type of plastic is BPA, which is bisphenol A. So I go over here and I want to look up that plastic. So I go BPA, chemistry, just in case BPA is the name of a British soccer team or something like that I don't know about, or it's some horrible little internet phrase that you guys know that means something really rude. I mean, look at it right here. Oh, American Chemistry Council. I've seen all sorts of various things. So BPA chemistry, structural diagram is a good one to go with. And oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? So I hit images and I go, ooh, I like these. I think I can understand that. So I click on this one and I go right click, copy, and then I go back here and I paste it in. Works out well. Now, what if I want to talk about that image on the right side? Sometimes I can click and I can write in here. What if I want to add a title up top? You will find it's basically impossible to add text to the top. And you go, dang it, how do I fix this? And I've already copied the image. Well, you can just go in here, delete it, get your text to the top, click enter, and then repaste your image. Sometimes you've messed up the table so badly that it's unusable, in which case I simply go here, click, go over here, and I can start over again. So I'm going to put it back. Now I said I want you to reference it. Unfortunately, the way they've set it up anymore, it's really hard to reference these because you don't know the website it came from. So if you click on it, it'll bring you to where we found it, North Carolina Health News. There it is right there, the URL. I do Control C, I go back to my document, and I paste it. I'm not going to check these references. These are for you. So what I like to do at this point is I go in here and I'll shrink the text really tiny, as tiny as I can get. I wonder if I can go smaller. Let's try 4 point. Look at that. So, oh, it cut it to 6. So I guess that's its limit. I'm going to try 1 point, see what happens. Nothing. 6 is as small as it goes. So we wedged it in there and you're good to go. Now, what if you decide that you need a lot more writing room here? You didn't want that much space. Here's the mistake. Don't do that. See what happened? It shoved the image out of the box. So I'm going to undo that. And what you have to do first is shrink the image to the size you want. And then you can move this over. I'm going to go back here. One thing not to do is this. Don't start at anything but a corner. Oh, I nearly killed myself on that sentence. I didn't know where it was going to end. See, you don't want to change its aspect ratio. You want to squoosh it up. So always use a corner, drag from a corner. It'll shrink, and then you slide this over. Now you've got an image, and you go, la, 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 la. Oh, I'm talking about the image. Oh, I'm making all sorts of references to it. I'm doing cartoon swear words. Uh-oh, what did I hit? What the heck is this that just showed up? I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, nothing bad happened. Okay, I guess it's still working. Now, do you really want to give me an essay when you're done with all this boxing in it? I don't care. I give it to you a lot of times. Google Docs is a nightmare. If you try to pop the images in outside of one of these boxes, you have no idea where it's going to go, the size it's going to take. It messes up paragraphs. This is how I include images. Now, at the end, let's say I don't want to see this. You can go in here and go into table properties, and you can typically change the table border to pure white. And there it goes. It's gone. And don't do that till the end. And then when you write, anything you put on screen will now be locked together like this. So you can delete the table borders, but notice it's a little bit tricky to find them again. See that? So now you'll find undoing it is like next to impossible. So if you go in here and I try again, oh, what's this do? It does that. How do I fix it? Right click. There it goes. Table properties, put the border back, something like that. So one way of doing this to sort of hedge your bets, so you get a final look if the borders bug you, is to go in here and choose a really light shade. And so you can sort of still see the borders there if you decide to play with it later, but now it looks more like what you're going to write. So this is one trick with Google Docs. Put everything in tables, and then you can remove the table border later, and your images will be permanently locked to the text. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. If you can't talk about the picture, don't include it. And when you reference, I don't need a reference at the end, put it right here. The last part is, what about plagiarism? Let's suppose you look up something on BPAs. So I'm going to go back up here, and you decide to just go with chemistry. Take out the word structural diagram. It used to saying structural diagram, it'll show you these. And the structural diagrams I'll show you mean a lot. The formula, you see it right here? There's the actual formula. It's not so much, okay? Now let's suppose there's something written that you go, wow, I just couldn't write anything as grand and as poetic as that. That just, it speaks to me on so many levels. And you decide you're just going to copy from Wikipedia. And let's just say this is like Shakespearean level writing here. That's just magnificent. So you do control copy, and you're going to include it in your essay, and you're going to try to sneak it by me, but you copied it from Wikipedia. First of all, it shows up with all this stuff. And you kind of go, what? I didn't want all these links and everything. He'll know I copied it. So what do? If you're on a Windows machine, go to Courseware, Accessories, Notepad, View, Format, there it is, Word Wrap, Edit, Select All, Copy. And we go back to our document and look at it now. If you include it, put it in Notepad first, it'll strip off everything that causes these hypertexts and all that. However, look at the formula. It did bugger up the formula as well. So if you copied in Notepad first, you'll get rid of this if you have access to it. You may not in a Chromebook. But let's go back to the whole plagiarism nonsense. If you just figure, oh, I want to use this sentence, all I'm asking is this. Insert, okay? Where's their footnote? There it is, footnote. Insert a footnote, go back to Wikipedia, and then you copy the URL, and that's it. All right? If you want to make it clear this was not your writing, this isn't proper format, but I like to do it this way, put it like that. You've done it. You've legitimately plagiarized. That's what a footnote's for. And that's all I need for references. Don't sit there and make up a bunch. Now, if your entire document is nothing but references, you don't write a single word yourself, don't do that in high school. That's called a PhD. Here endeth the lesson.